trying to make me cry in front of everybody, man?
Yeah, that's the point.
One word of advice. Buy TV, don't spend it on Hooker.
Super Russ. I'm the last character on my Justice League team with these four babes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a nostalgic-filled show with freshly dyed SimpleSimon.
That's right. It's been so long, man. I feel so good right now. Yeah, so we're out of lockdown and hairdressers are open. It did take me I think 2 weeks to get to make an appointment. And yesterday, I heard the hairdresser the phone was just going off, like crazy.
Really?
And they were like, "Oh, yeah, we can book you in, but nothing until November 17th."
Man.
So it's like another 2 weeks. So pretty crazy. How you feeling, mate? Pretty tired?
Yeah, a little tired. Been awake since 2 a.m.
It's rough, mate. It's rough. But don't worry. I'm sure once we get going on today's chat, mate, it'll be smooth sailing, hopefully.
Unless I fall asleep, man, just take over the show. You'll be good.
All right. What's going on, Cookie?
Yo, what's up, Cookie?
I know Cookie's secret identity.
Yeah.
Yeah. His name got dropped on his podcast. Apparently no one knew. I didn't know no one knew, but apparently it was a secret. And then it got he got name dropped in it.
Secret identity exposed.
That's right. I know, Cookie. I know. All right. So today, I'll do a quick shout out as well because I kind of stole this idea. Because each week I'm going to come with an idea, and I literally forgot until you messaged me last night. You're like, "What's the idea?" I was like, "Oh crap!" All right. I already had this in mind though that I want because I'm sick and tired of having to put my books away every week.
Yeah.
They sit there in stacks, and I'm like, "Oh my god, Russ, this is killing me." So I thought we'd just talk. We should talk about something. So I stole this idea from Talking Pop Culture, my fellow Aussie YouTuber friends. They do a weekly stream, and one of the segments they do on their stream is nostalgia talk. So they have one thing that they talk about. And there was just 1 week where I was watching them, and we were in the chat. We were just going crazy because, they were just talking about stuff, and it was just trip down memory lane. So I thought that'd be a good thing to talk about, and maybe we'd pick 5 things each. But yeah, I reckon once we start going on this, mate, it's just gonna the hour will go pretty quickly, I think. So is there anything else we need to plug before we begin, Russ?
Well, just I've got Simon's YouTube link, first link in the description. If you're seeing this and you're not subbed to him, sub him up. You gotta be getting pretty close to 900 now, right?
I think I'm on 860, probably 859,
40
858
away. Yeah.
Finishes.
We gotta get SimpleSimon to 1K by the end of the year.
End of January is the goal. I'd like to hit it by
January.
My 3rd anniversary. So we'll see what happens, mate. But it's not the end of the world.
I think it's possible, man.
Yeah. So hi, Larry.
What's up, Larry?
Also, check out Comic Roasting this week if you missed it, because I finally made my appearance. And check out my training video where Super Russ supposedly trained me.
You did better than me, man. You beat the timer every time.
It was so but there was a couple times I couldn't there were certain categories, how you kind of think while you're not on screen, you're thinking of all the books you could put for each category. There were certain categories I was just like, please don't pick that one, and they kept a Fangs one at the end. I was like, I can't think of a Fangs one, and there were so many that kept coming up. I was like, oh, not that one. So I would think of a book, and there was one the spider web one. I had the perfect cover for it, and I forgot which. Like I started looking through my indie covers, like cover buys.
Yeah.
And then of course afterwards I realized, of course, it's in the bondage collection. Of
Ah,
course. So I didn't pull it in time, but I still won that round, I think.
yeah. I think
It
you're
was
only like 2 or 3 votes from winning the whole thing, man. Pretty
Yeah,
close.
you know what's funny? So someone told me they looked at the straw poll the next day, and it was a draw.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if you like, watch the replay and vote or something. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah,
they
get-
showed. And, I
Get
was like,
John
"What?"
on the stream and get a recount.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, I've been wanting to make for a while a video. It's just going to be a lot of work talking about my favorite Comic Gurus moments. So it's
Yeah.
going to be, I need to do a lot of clipping from the show and stuff like
yeah.
that. But so it involves a lot of work, but it is something I still plan on, still project that I would like to do.
Yeah, that could be like a big end of the year project or something.
Yeah, and you'll definitely be involved because you'll be like the Cinderella story.
Holding up the book 10 seconds after the timer stops.
Yeah, from the worst beginning to the greatest comeback to become one of the greatest to ever do it, Russ. It was awesome that time that you were on the second. It was the second time, right? And then you won.
I think so.
Yeah, that was fantastic because yeah, people were just in the chat. You're like the crowd favorite. It was awesome.
I think the timer messed me up on the last time. That kept me from getting it 3 times.
That time of night.
Yeah. The good thing about the regular show, though, the regular categories, is you get like each person gets a pass. So if you get a category you don't want, but I don't think they do the passes on the special shows.
I was actually really lucky because there was the category of gargoyle, and that was another one. I was like, I knew of a book straight away, which is I still got it here because I didn't put it away. I thought of this straight away. I'm covering the gargoyle, right? And I knew, I was like, oh wait, that was not in the book. Like I left a couple of boxes in my other room, and I knew that was in there. So I was like, I got to write because I had them all out here around me, and then I just bolted into the other room and grabbed it. And then I thought of a Vampirella cover, and I was like, I don't know if that's got a gargoyle on it. So when I came back, I grabbed that one, and then realized people will vote Lickworthy over Batman, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's a solid bet.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to get this show on the road?
Yeah, let's get it started.
We've only got 51 minutes left, and I reckon the time will fly once we start going. So I'll start as usual, ladies first. This was something. So yesterday we're in a group chat together. Hey, Whack.
What's up, Whack?
We're in a group chat together, and yesterday you mentioned something about. Thank you. You mentioned something about baseball. You hadn't watched baseball since. I didn't get the reference, but
this was years ago. Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa were like having a face off to see who get the home run record that year.
Yeah,
and Mark McGuire ended up getting it, but then shortly quit after when everybody started testing for steroids.
yeah, because those guys were hitting the ball out into space.
Yeah. What's up, Chris?
What's going on, 2-6? So in that group chat, you were saying you hadn't watched baseball since then, and I was like, I haven't watched baseball since Wild Thing Ricky Vaughn pitched for the.
That's a killer reference.
Baseball is not very big in Australia, right? It had a very tiny window where there was like an Australian baseball league in the 90s. It was very short-lived. No one really knew about it. But I always loved baseball, right? Me and my friends, we used to play in the street. We all had baseball bats and baseball mitts and stuff. We'd go to a park and like hit the ball and catch it and stuff. I actually played baseball for school too, because for some reason my school had a baseball team. So I was able to be in the team. I was the shortstop. We made it to the finals of the school year or whatever, and we lost. We got our butts kicked in the final. But anyway, the reason I love baseball was because of all the baseball movies I grew up to, like Major League.
Yeah.
was it? You guys called it the Sandlot, but here it was actually called the Sandlot Kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it still said the Sandlot in the like at the credits at the start, but on the VHS cover it was called Sandlot Kids, and then on the labels it was called Sandlot Kids. And now on DVD it's called Sandlot, but I know in America it was just called the Sandlot.
Yeah.
That movie was great. Rookie of the Year. Do you remember that film?
Is that the one where a kid like broke his arm and he could like all of a sudden like throw crazy fastballs? Yeah. That was a trip.
I used to love that film, man. Major League
cover collector.
What's going on, mate? But yeah, Major League was probably my favorite. Like the car, Wesley Snipes was in it. I completely forgot about that.
Oh yeah, it's been so long since I saw that.
And then they replaced him in the sequel. The sequel they got that I can't remember the actor's name. His last name's Epps, I think. But yeah, the first two were pretty good, and then I think I watched the third one and it was pretty bad.
I didn't even know there was a third one, man.
There was a third. I think there was. I got a feeling the guy who was the catcher in the second one might have been in the third one. I can't remember. There wasn't many people left in the third one. But yeah, baseball films were awesome back in the day. I'm trying to think of other ones. Babe, who played Babe Ruth? Was it John Good?
I think it was John Goodman.
Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, I was really into baseball movies when I was a kid.
Yeah. Did you ever see what was the one with the Field of Dreams?
Yeah, see that's one I actually don't think I ever watched. I don't think I watched it in its entirety. I think I've only seen bits and pieces of it on TV and stuff. Yeah, see, Wild Thing, Charlie Sheen. That was the best. Who's Bull Durham? Oh wait, no, he's another character from Major League, right? I think he was another character from Major League. And I remember there was Serrano, who was the guy who hit the ball really hard.
Yeah. Yo, what's up, Freaky?
But yeah, baseball movies was my was one of my topics. The Sandlot. See, there's a line from the Sandlot that I'll always remember. Because remember, do you remember you seen the Sandlot?
Yeah, it's been years. But...
So you know the main kid not the main kid of the story, but the main kid who was good at baseball, Benjamin Franklin Rodriguez. Yeah. There's this line. There's the bit where it's July 4th, and they're all watching the fireworks. And the narrator was the main kid, and he was like saying, you know, we will all watch the fireworks, except for Benny, because you know he was like, to us, baseball was a game, but to Benjamin Franklin Rodriguez, baseball was life. And I was like, oh, such a good movie. Such a good movie. What's going on, Perry?
Yo, what's up, Perry?
Perry, have you watched Sandlot, kids? Maybe you should react to that. If you haven't seen Sandlot, it's a great film.
Yeah, classic.
What you got, Russ?
I'm going to talk some video games for a while, man. Some old school games.
I'll segue into my next one then.
All right. So, what was your first system? Do you remember?
Yeah, the Nintendo, just the original Nintendo.
Yeah, same here. I had an older brother, older sister, and my mom all went on it together and got me a Nintendo when I was a kid. Nice. And it came with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
And I had the little zapper gun. Oh man, that was the end of me going outside. That was the moment that defined my gaming life.
I never had the gun, right? So it was my favorite thing in the world. The only time I ever had it was when I either borrowed it from friends, and I think I might have borrowed it from the video store one time. But I remember friends had it and they would lend it to me, and I just couldn't get enough of Duck Hunt. And what was the one where it was the like the cowboy one where you had to shoot, like, you know, draw that one?
Oh god, I remember that, but I can't remember the name of it.
You know, I actually preferred that one, but that one, not many people had that game, but that was so much fun. But dude, yeah, Duck Hunt was awesome, so good.
I would get like right on the TV.
I can't even think of how that technology works now. Like thinking about it, I can see.
Well,
I
I
think
mean, it plugged
just
in
something-
back then. Yeah, it wasn't wireless or anything.
yeah, but just the fact that it would know where on the TV that you're shooting in my
Yeah.
head. How did it know? Technology back then was fantastic.
Yeah.
There was that weird robot thing of the Nintendo. I remember all the ads for it, but I don't quite remember what it did. It was like this
I'm not
little,
sure.
it was like a robot thing. It looked like Wall-E, kind of. And it had
I
something
think
to
I
do with
remember the commercial for that.
yeah, I remember the commercial, but I don't actually remember what the thing did
Yeah.
because I never had one. So was that the first console or like first gaming system that you played? Had you played anything before owning that?
No, that was the very first one.
Wow. Okay, so
I think I was 6 or 7 years old.
so
One of those. Yeah.
before I think I owned that because my brothers are all like at least 10 years older than me, right? So they had the Atari and the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
So to play games on those when I used to go over to their house. And the craziest thing to me was I can't remember, I think it was the Commodore 64. You would plug in like a tape thing, like a cassette tape thing, and the games would be on a little cassette tape.
Huh.
And you could back then, cassettes were the thing. You could put it inside a tape player with the two tape decks and record a game from one cassette to another.
That's a trip, man. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It was insane. The Atari took cartridges, but yeah, I remember the Commodore 64 had this little cassette tape thing you used to plug in. Is that FKL? I'm not sure. Is that what it's called? Like,
With Miss Pac-Man and Space Invaders.
yeah, that was the biggest shit. I remember Outrunners. Do you remember Outrunners? It was like a racing game with the Ferrari, and when they crash, the car would go tumbling, and it was you and a girl that was sitting in the car, and every time you crashed, the car would start tumbling, and the two people would fall out of the car and then start running on the road until the car and they jump back.
I don't think I ever heard that. And I remember having there was a game called Sight Bike. It was Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yes,
And
exciting.
it was like some kind of like Teamco or Tomco football or something.
Look at that one. I can't remember. Mike
And it
Tyson
was
Punch
just
Out.
like, yeah.
And it was weird because I beat Mike Tyson, right? But I could never make it to Mike Tyson without the cheats. So there was a cheat, you'd end up finding the code to get to Mike Tyson. And I beat Mike Tyson, but I couldn't actually play all the way through the game. I got to a certain point where there was one guy I just couldn't beat because I couldn't figure out the pattern or whatever it was.
Yeah. There was one that I never got past, man. My older brother could beat the game, but I never did. It was a big dude, King Kong or something, where you had to punch him and his shorts would fall down.
Yeah, I do remember.
I never could get past that one.
Was he the guy you had to punch? Oh no, there was the big hippo guy. You had to punch him in the stomach.
Yeah, I think that's the
one.
one.
You would cover
Yeah.
his stomach, and he had a little band-aid on it. What you call it? Sight Bike. I called it Excite Bike because it was EX.
Yeah,
Sight Bike,
yeah.
That was I used to spend because you could create your own course.
Yep, that was like huge back then, man.
Yeah, like I'd create my courses so it'd just be constant, massive jumps constantly going.
What's up, God Tank? Heroes to Icons. Teamco. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
It was just like this pixelated football game.
Mario 3 was everything. Yeah, Mario 3 was. Oh, dude, do you remember the movie The Wizard with Fred Savage in it?
Oh, yeah.
His little brother who was like a Nintendo extraordinaire, and he wanted to go to California to enter the video game contest.
Dude, I had forgotten all about that.
And they revealed Mario 3 in that movie, and that's where we all learned the cheat. There was this one level where you'd go on this white block and you'd hold down, and then he'd fall through the thing, and you'd be in the background of the game, and then you'd run all the way to the end. Ooh.
What's up, Gray Man?
Memories. What's going on, Gray? Memories galore.
Man, that's a lot of like nostalgia there for sure.
Wizard, man. I love that movie. So good. God dang, got ET. I don't remember the ET game, but I remember I've seen so many documentaries now where they talk about the whole ET thing, and yeah, the game
No
did not look
spoilers.
good. One of my favorites on it. So Nintendo was where I discovered the game Maniac Mansion, which was probably my favorite game on that platform. Have you ever played that?
I don't think so.
So it was kind of like a point and click. I think they used to kind of like Leisure Suit Larry almost, but like you're these group of teenagers who'd go into this haunted house, and you could switch between. So you could pick three. I think you pick 3 out of like 5 choosable characters, and you'd go into this haunted house, and you had to solve this big mystery. And it was one of those games where at the bottom there was all these options like open, walk, do this, do that, do this, do that, and you would click it, and then click on things on the screen to try to. It was like one of my favorite games ever.
I remember they had a Friday the 13th game on a Nintendo. That was so weird because it was like this little like blue and purple Jason.
Yeah, it is crazy to think back to those games. I showed it on my collectible show and tell last week. I've got the mini Nintendo that they released.
Oh yeah,
and the mini Super Nintendo. So they're like this big, the consoles, and they look exactly the same, but just mini. And you plug them in, and you can actually hack them. So I've got not my original Nintendo, but my mini Super Nintendo. I gave it to my friend, and I know you plug it in, you can put an emulator thing on there.
Yeah.
So I've got like 100 games on there. But some of them are still pretty fun, and some of them is just like, man, I can't believe this is how life used to be.
It's like back then you were thinking, oh my God, man, this is like cutting edge. It's never going to get better.
Think about PlayStation 1 and how, like, oh my God, you couldn't believe how good the PlayStation 1 was.
Oh, yeah. That was like a game changer for me, man.
Yeah, and then you compare it to now, it's like, what the hell?
I remember I went from just the regular Nintendo, and I played that all the way up until the time to like a year or so into the release of the Sega Genesis. And my brother walked in the door with the Sega Genesis, and it was just like my world lit up, man. Sonic the Hedgehog Part 2. I don't know how many hours I put into that game.
Yeah, I had yeah, me too, man. So was that the one where he had the number 2 was the one on the cover, he was on the glider thing, right?
I think I can't remember. But I remember it came out with an expansion. It was Sonic and Knuckles, and you could plug Sonic 2 into the top of Sonic and Knuckles. And you could play as Knuckles in Sonic 2, and he could climb and like glide over stuff.
That's out of control.
Yeah.
I had a Game Gear, the portable. So everyone where I was from had a Game Boy, right? Nintendo Game Boy.
Yeah.
And I went on a trip with my parents to like Hong Kong, and they bought me a Sega Game Gear. So I was like the only person in my school that had a Game Gear. I was like, look at all your crappy Game Boys with no color. And I had like all the Sonic games, and yeah, I did all of it. I had Mortal Kombat on there, Mickey Mouse's Haunted Mansion. So many good games on it. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, I remember, was the very first game I was ever able to like beat my older brother at. And then he just wouldn't play that anymore.
Well, let's let that segue. We could probably just talk about video games for the rest of the stream.
Yeah.
So
What's
yeah,
up,
that'll segue.
Chop?
What's going on, Chop? My next one that I had it wasn't my next one, but I'll skip forward into one of my other topics, was actually a specific game, which is Street Fighter 2.
Oh, yeah.
Street Fighter 2 came out, and I feel like that's the game that kind of made fighting games what they are, right? Like before Mortal Kombat, there was Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
So when Street Fighter 2 came out, it was you have no idea, if you weren't there, how big that game was. So we have you guys call them arcades? Is that what you call them, where all the video games are? So there was the biggest one down here, like a big franchise chain thing, was called Time Zone. So in the city, they had the biggest time zone. It was like 3 levels, right? And when Street Fighter came out and it got massive, they got rid of every machine up on the very top level, and you go up there, and it was just Street Fighter on the entire level, right? Like I'm talking like had to have been like close to 100 Street Fighter machines, but they were all like they'd all been like hacked and modified. So you could do all these weird things. I didn't quite get how, like thinking about it now, I don't know how this is kind of legal, but like you could do weird things like, jump in the air and do a fireball, which was not standard in the standard game. But you could do a thing where you could jump, do a fireball, and he's like, up in the air, and then you can jump again and do another fireball, and you could keep doing it until you jump off the screen, and then you start coming up from the bottom of the screen. You could do multiple. You could do multiple things. Like I used to use Guile, and you could do like multiple sonic booms at the same time. Like you would just keep doing them back and forth, and yeah, it was crazy. But man, I was going to do a video telling this story once, right? So back in the day, in the city, there was a lot of Asian gangs, right? And these Asian gangs, they don't mess around. Right? They'll carry like machetes in their bags and stuff like that, right? And Street Fighter had rules. There was a certain rule set, and yeah, so I used to hang out in the city a lot. And this is when I'm like maybe 13, maybe, or 12 even. Like we used to go out to the city, and there was a thing like, if you want to play, you had to put your dollar coin on the screen. Like there's a little bit where it would just rest on, so when it's your turn. And when you challenged people, right, there was things like you weren't allowed to throw. You can do that. If you ride up to them, you can do that throw move. If you threw them, like by accident or something, you had to stand there and let them throw you back. You weren't allowed to hit them if they were dizzy. So, if you do consecutive moves and then they're dizzy, they're dazed, and most people go up to you and just throw you when that happens, but you weren't allowed to hit them if they were dizzy. If you did, you'd have to let them hit you back. The biggest one was seconds. You had to give seconds, which means if you won the first round, you had to let the person win the second round. And so it had to go to a third and final round, right? So people who were really good, what they would do is they'd beat you in the first round, and then in the second round, they would kick your ass up until you had this much energy, and then they just do this and let you take the rest of the round. And this was full on, right? So, like, you could get stabbed. I'm not even joking. Like, people got stabbed over this game for not following these rules. And
that's hardcore, man.
There was this one time where this dude, he was trying to do that thing where he was kicking my ass in the second round, and then he was going to let me win, but he accidentally like killed me in the second round. So he won both rounds. So he just smashed the machine and walked off. Because he broke the rules, he left and he gave me his credit.
Oh,
like, this was like full on stuff. It was the 90s, whack.
What's up, Night Tiger? What's going on,
mate?
brother?
But yeah, it was just this weird thing that existed down here. And you didn't want to mess around with them too much because like kids were stabbing each other left, right, and center.
That is hardcore, man.
Yeah.
The big fighting game that like brought me in after Mortal Kombat was the Tekken series, especially Tekken 3 on the PlayStation 1. That was like huge for me, man. That was
also,
like one of the games I just studied all the moves and tried to learn everything and get good with every character.
I didn't like, so the one thing about Street Fighter, because I was pretty good at Street Fighter, and I was pretty good at the other ones too, like Mortal Kombat and stuff, but what I didn't like was Street Fighter, to do the moves, you had to do like, down, forward and things like that, while like, the little quarter circles to do fireballs and stuff like that, which I kind of got good at. Mortal Kombat, Tekken and all that was more back, forward, and back, forward, and weird. No, I didn't like that as much. But another one you probably forgot about is a Virtual Fighter. Do you remember that one?
Yeah,
that was one that people don't really ever talk about, but that was very big at the time it came out because it was kind of new and fresh, it looked different and things like that. That might have even been before Mortal Kombat.
Could have been. I know there was a ton of different ones. There's one called
Killer
Bloody
Instinct?
Roar.
Oh, bloody! No one talks about Bloody. I only played that
That
on
was
PlayStation.
fun.
Yeah, we used to play that a lot on PlayStation. On PlayStation 1, it was Bloody Roar 3. I think we had on PlayStation 1. Me and my friends used to play. But yeah, Killer Instinct was huge.
Yeah,
that was the one I was never. For some reason, I was never that good at Killer Instinct. All the other ones I was okay. Even Tekken, I wasn't that great at, to be honest. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. They had the crossovers like Street Fighter versus X-Men. I used to have this massive combo I could do with Wolverine back in the day.
A really good one was it was called Marvel Superheroes. It was like the first one in the line, and then shortly after that, they did the Marvel versus Capcom.
Yes,
Those were fun.
Bloody Raw, Carolina Chris. You were like human, half animal things.
You could
so
like
you'd fight as a human, you build up your power thing, and then you could transform into your animal. Yeah, no one talks about that game. I didn't know. I'd never seen it at the arcades because to me it was like a PlayStation thing. So
yeah, that's PlayStation's where I tried it.
Soul Calibur, yeah. Soul Calibur, they had weapons, I think.
I think so.
Samurai Showdown. That name sounds familiar, but I don't quite remember it. Altered Beast, I remember. See, Altered Beast, I've got that. I've also got the mini Sega Mega Drive.
Oh,
and
nice.
I played it, and it did not hold up.
Really?
Maybe it was just that console. Marvel versus
I think the first game I ever played on the PlayStation was it came with like a demo disc, and it had like 10 or 15 different games, like the first levels. And the first one I tried was Tomb Raider, and like Laura Croft was my first crush. I couldn't beat that game for nothing, but I would just sit there and play like the first level, running around with Laura, trying to get the camera angle just right.
All right. What do you got, mate? Because we've been going on about video games.
There's just so many games, man. You could just talk about that for like the whole hour, probably.
We'll do a video game special one day.
Yeah. Oh man. What do you got, man?
No, that was mine. I segued from video games into Street Fighter. Actually, there's one thing. If you guys, there's this anime that I watched on Netflix called High Score Girl. High Score, not High School. The High Score Girl, and it's really cool. So it's about this kid in the 90s who likes playing arcade games, and the awesome thing is it shows real video game footage, and it kind of retells you the story of the evolution of fighting games in this anime, even though it's this weird kind of love triangle story. Because he starts off, he's like all obsessed with Street Fighter. He wants to become the best Street Fighter player. But then as the story progresses, he talks about all these other games that come out like Virtual Fighter, Mortal Kombat. And yeah, I'm not that into anime, but it was actually quite a good one.
Anyway, trying to hit up a side hustle.
The NFTs.
That's wild to me, man. The NFT thing. People basically buying gifts.
I got one.
Yeah.
I got a free one. It was the hang on.
Free is all good, but I just can't imagine paying for one. That's like me holding up a picture of a PlayStation 5 and saying I own it.
There's some things about it which kind of sound cool, but at the same time, it's not something I can imagine ever.
Yeah,
getting.
the whole digital collectible thing just ain't for me. I'm too old school for that.
There's meant to be like this is what I got. I'm like, what is it? It's just a floating floppy disk.
Yeah, it's like a gift, man.
I'm like, what's
people that would pay hundreds of dollars for that has more money than sense.
I thought it was going to be a book, but it's just a floating floppy disk.
Yeah,
and it's
just like an animated photo.
Hey, Carlito.
Oh, what's up, Carlito? I didn't see you pop in, man.
All right, mate. Let's move this show on because yeah, we did a solid 20 minutes. I think on video games. What you got?
Oh man, how about some '90s action movies?
Yep. Who is your go-to action hero?
Back in the day, man, in the '90s, Jackie Chan.
Oh,
I was like, I love Jackie Chan. I watched some Bruce Lee movies with my older brother,
yeah.
and those were cool. But when Jackie Chan come out, that just hooked me,
Who is-
man. Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh, dude, that's so good. Did you used to watch those scenes over and over,
Yeah,
like his fight scenes? Oh yeah, some of them
yeah.
were amazing.
I would try to do some of that stuff and get hurt so bad. But then it was like at the end of all his movies, he would show like the outtakes of him doing it, and it's like breaking his foot, breaking his jaw, and like still doing it. I'm like, oh my god,
in
man!
Rumble in the Bronx, he broke his ankle, so he had to wear like it was like a fake shoe. You see at the end, it's like it slips on like a sock. And I was like, man, he broke his ankle, and he still
he just kept going. It was that one. There was one called Jackie Chan's First Strike. God, he has so many awesome movies, man.
I saw my first Jackie Chan movie I ever saw was my parents went and saw Armor of God at the cinemas, and they were like, they loved it so much that they took me to go see it. So that was my first. And that was the one where, in the very opening scene, he was the bit where he jumps onto a tree and he actually fell and broke his neck or something like that. So the rest of the movie, he looks completely different because he went to hospital for so long and then had to come back and film the rest. So at the start of the movie, he's got short hair and all this stuff. It looks a little bit thinner. And then when he comes back, he's got long hair. He looks a little bit different.
It's amazing to me that Jackie Chan is still alive.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What other good ones was there? Rush Hour was good.
Yeah.
He was the reason he was different. Like, so Night Tiger saying Jet Li, and you were saying that you saw Bruce Lee. Like, obviously Bruce Lee was cool, Jet Li was cool, but Jackie Chan was different. He used his environment to beat
it's
people.
So fun, man.
Like he'd throw you a chair at you with his foot and things like that. So he definitely had his own thing, and I think it was unique to make him,
I mean, I probably watched just Rumble in the Bronx alone. I probably watched 30 or 40 times.
Yeah, I'd watched that scene in the pool hall so many times. Have you seen Twin Dragon? The one where there's two of them?
Yeah. Yep.
I saw that in the cinemas in when I was in Hong Kong, as I was saying before, my parents, and I love that one where like one of them is like this kick-ass, fighter from the street, and the other one's like this nerdy, he's like a orchestra conductor or something. Like that. And then at the end, like they can sort of the one can make the other guy do something, and dude, it was so funny.
Drunken Master, that was good. Oh yeah, the Tuxedo. That was good. That was like the James Bond style.
I was talking to Bubs about Tuxedo, right?
Yeah.
And what I was saying was, so Jackie Chan, once he broke into Hollywood, right, he started doing movies like The Tuxedo and things like that. And they'd pair him up with like these, Hollywood babes, right? But they never let him kiss them.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, man.
Because it was what was Jennifer Love Hewitt was Tuxedo, right?
She was my favorite. I was like, fucking make her kiss the Asian guy.
Yeah.
There was one movie where he did. I was saying, did you ever see The Medallion?
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was a bad movie. But Claire Florini, I can't remember how to say her name. But she made out with him at the end. I was like, you go, girl. Give Jackie some love and respect.
Everything he did was just like so fun, man.
Yeah. Shanghai Nights is great. Rush Hour was great. Battle Creek Brawl, yes. That was so good. That's one of my favorites, Battle Creek Brawl. That's one of his older ones.
I don't think I've seen that one.
That one's like kind of like a street fighting one. So that one's
I have to look that up.
Yeah, that one's fantastic. That's quite dated now. I remember last time I watched it, I was like, man, this is old. Yeah, poor Jackie. Poor Jackie. I'd be like feeling so ripped off.
For real. Yeah, they're putting his life on the line with every stunt.
All right. Wait, I think we're gonna have to do like part 2 of this one day because or just do specific categories.
Yeah.
This one I told you, man, once we started going on this one, I knew we weren't gonna stop. All right,
Yeah.
let's move it on though. So I've got a couple more on my list. So Ninja Turtles was obviously huge, right?
Yeah.
So I think for me it was 1990 because I remember I was in like grade 2 was when I had all the figurines and stuff, and we got banned from bringing them to school because everyone would just be playing with the Ninja Turtle figures, which I actually found recently. I found some of them, but there was a lot of Ninja Turtle knockoffs, like a lot of other things that would then come along, which I felt like were just kind of trying to copy the Ninja Turtles. Did you ever watch Samurai Pizza Cats?
No, I don't think I've heard of that one.
You ever heard of Samurai Pizza Cats? I mean, if that's not a Ninja Turtle ripoff, I don't know
That's a new one on me.
There was what else was there? Like, you know, things like the biker mice from Mars.
I remember
and
biker mice vaguely.
Street Sharks.
Street Sharks, yeah.
That's just all. I never watched any of those ones though. I watched Samurai Pizza Cats, but yeah, I never really watched biker mice from Mars and Street Sharks. Battle Toads, or that was a video game, wasn't it?
I think it was a cartoon too.
Was it?
I think.
I can't remember.
I remember something about. I could be like, the memories could be getting mixed up, but
I feel like they even crossed over Battletoads and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Biker Mice from Mars was so good. Yeah. Does anyone remember Samurai Pizza Cats, or was it just me? Are you serious? Samurai Pizza Cats. Who do you call when you want some pepperoni? Samurai Pizza Cats.
I don't know that one, man. It's funny though. Speaking of the old Ninja Turtles toys, when I was in kindergarten, they would have you like bring stuff for show and tell.
Yep.
And there was this one rich kid that always came that like picked on everybody. And every day I would like make an excuse to go out into the hallway, and I would take like 2 or 3 of his Ninja Turtle toys from his backpack and put them in my backpack. So by the end of the year, I had like the full set of Ninja Turtle toys. But dude just kept bringing them, like not even saying nothing to nobody that they were going missing. And I remember playing on the back porch as like 5 years old, playing on the back porch, and all of a sudden my mom come to the door and looked out, and she's like, "Where'd you get all them toys?" I was like, I found them. I got in so much trouble, man.
Yeah, that's right. Super Thief 9000.
Yeah. I got in so much trouble.
Wow. Man, that's messed up, Russ.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Well, what was he like? You saying he kept bringing them? Was he bringing back the ones that you'd taken? So like,
No, he would just like bring new ones every day for show and tell. But he was always like snobby and lording it over everybody's head. And I was like, there I was with like duct tape holding my shoes together. 5 years old. I'm like, I'm just gonna take them.
well, maybe he deserved it.
Oh man, I got my butt whooped so hard at the end of the year.
That's hilarious. But yeah, I remember they got banned and confiscated.
That was the end of my thieving career.
If you brought them to school, I remember they got confiscated. I remember one of the teachers, I think, took one of my turtles for like nearly like the whole year, and I was just like, "What?" I was like, "Can I have my fucking turtle back, please?" Like, how dare they? So, man, imagine being at school now though. Like, kids are going to school with iPhones. And,
oh yeah.
What is this world?
Like,
All right, you got any more? Because I got two more.
Go ahead.
Okay, because I feel like if you're gonna bring wrestling up, we could do a whole episode on wrestling because I was definitely a big wrestling fan. So maybe we can do that next week. Maybe we'll do a wrestling special next week.
All right.
I definitely was a wrestling fan for.
I can bust out my impressions.
Cool. Are you gonna show up dressed up? Can you show up dressed up in your little spandex outfit and stuff like that?
The best I can do is put the Batman on again.
Okay. So I got two more things, and that probably could fill the hour. This one probably won't take too long. But back in the 90s, especially the early 90s for me, baggy pants were all the rage, right? Everyone wanted baggy pants. The baggier, the better. And I don't know if you guys had this brand, but everyone used to want cross colors. That was the name of the denim brand that made the really baggy pants. They came in all these different colors and stuff like that. Because back then, I was into, I thought I was into anyway, like gangster rap and like the hood movies, like Boys in the Hood and all that sort of stuff. So I want to be cool and wear baggy pants. But I remember I always had to be different, right? So everyone would buy this cross colors brand. And I was always different. No, I wouldn't wear baggy pants if you paid me anymore. Now it's the tighter the better. I want them painted on nowadays. Yeah. But yeah, I always had to be different, man. So even though everyone wanted cross colors, I was like, I don't want the same as everyone else. So I used to buy this brand. I went to the city and I found this brand called Clue with a K, Klue. And I started buying all these Clue jeans, like blue, like these nice blue ones. I had these white ones that everyone was so jealous of. And yeah, you couldn't pay me enough money to wear that stuff now. But back then, yeah, cross colors, baggy jeans, and gangster rap. And I guess the last one will probably fill out the hour, I reckon, was trading cards. No?
I mean, I collected a few back in the day, but not like a lot.
Really? So you didn't get into basketball cards in the 92, 93 Upper Deck era, which is when they blew up?
I had some football cards and some baseball cards. And I remember getting like a few basketball cards from McDonald's when they did like the promotion stuff for the All-Star team and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. Most of my other cards were like superhero related cards.
Yeah, but you collect?
Yeah, I mean, I've got like a folder of cards, probably about like that, somewhere in the closet. I need to dig out one day and go through them. There might be something there worth some gold. I don't know, man.
Carolina Chris still rocking the cross colors. Do they still exist, really? Yeah, so I found a bunch of my basketball cards recently. Not all of them, but just a folder with I had my Jordan cards in there. Because you'd collect certain players. So I had like Jordan, I had Shaq. Yeah. Remember what else, but I found tennis cards in there.
Tennis cards? I didn't know they made tennis cards.
I didn't know either until I realized I had them. Yeah, but back in the day, there was so many different ones. Like all the movies. Like I remember collecting Terminator 2 cards, The Crow. The earliest ones, though, I remember when I was a kid, and this just popped in my head, was football cards down here have always been big. But also, I remember Transformer cards, and they would come with like chewing gum inside the pack. So you'd buy the packet, and it would come with this really terrible chewing gum, and then like a few cards.
I heard some of the baseball cards over here came with that, like this little cardboard piece of gum.
Yeah, it was really bad gum. It was like it had like a weird, what do you call it, like a grated look to it. Yeah. But
like somebody just stepped on it and left their shoe pattern in it for you.
What were the superhero cards you collected?
See, I had some of the Marvel cards, Marvel Masterpiece cards. I did have some of the Superman movie cards from Superman 2. Let's see what else.
Batman 89 and Batman Returns cards, I remember.
Actually, I didn't have those ones. I'm trying to remember what all. There was like some cards based off the Reign of Superman storyline. They had those cards.
Oh, wait, I can get. I got a couple on my shelf.
I actually had a bunch of WCW cards.
Yeah, I never. I never actually had wrestling ones. I don't think. Not from memory. I don't think I had wrestling ones. I remember. I think it was a Marvel ones where they were longer. Like they were longer than the normal cards.
Yeah, I remember those.
Because I had basketball cards like that too, and I was just like, this is annoying because they didn't fit. You used to have those plastic pages where you'd fit 9 cards, but those ones wouldn't fit in there. So here are some cards. This one I found recently. The Crow.
Oh, nice.
So I found that and I was like, oh, sick. I love the Crow. So I put in a top loader. There's that.
That's awesome. That was such a good movie.
It was fantastic. And then these ones recently my friend gave me. So these you probably had. That's it's meant to be it's like acetate, but the sleeve has like a background to it, so it kind of makes the card not clear anymore. Cool. There's that, and then there's the
the holograph cards.
Yeah, so a friend of mine. Oh, it's hard to do this. There you go. Yeah, a friend of mine messaged me and was like, I found these. Do you want them? I don't want them. I was like, yes, please. Give me your junk.
Yeah. I think I did a video on some of my superhero cards back when I was doing the video a day thing. Yeah, I had one of them that I remember was it was a Venom and Scarlet Spider holograph card.
Nice. Holograms were the best.
Yeah. Still are to me, man. I love anything with a gimmick cover or gimmick to it.
Yeah, so when you were a kid, right, with comic books, so I always remembered one thing about comic books back in the day was the thing that made me, I guess, really get interested in them, or I guess the thing that made me realize they had some sort of value was The Simpsons. Because there's that episode of The Simpsons where they buy, I can't remember the comic book that they buy, but they buy some, I think it's like a
first Radioactive Man or something.
First appearance of Radioactive Man or something like that.
Yeah.
And him and Milhouse split the comic book, and then they're reading it with the tweezers. Like they're putting the tweezers in the candle, and they're like turning the pages of the tweezers. So I remember back then, you know, I used to buy comics and be like, oh, I wonder if this is gonna be worth any money. Anything that had hologram or chrome or foil was always just like, that's going to be worth so much money one day. So the book that I always refer to is when I bought X-Men Alpha, the foil or the chrome cover, I was like, oh, this cover is going to be worth so much money because it's chrome.
That's funny. I remember when the Death of Superman first came out in '93. I had started collecting just after that. Like it was right at the start of the Reign of Superman. So when I found out Superman died, I tried to go back and get the Death of Superman issue. Mm-hmm. And I remember going to the flea market because we didn't really have comic shops yet. And the dude was selling at the flea market in a poly bag for like $125. And I was like, I got $3, dude. I'm 13.
Was the book hard to get?
Yeah, it was for me in my area. It was I think it was probably 2 or 3 years later by the time I finally was able to put the whole set together.
Because I remember as a kid that was on the news when Superman died. It was on the news, and they had like footage of people at like comic shops or something, like just like it was packed because everyone wanted to buy the Death of Superman.
So I was like 13 then. I didn't know anything about like them being like worth huge money. I just wanted the comics, you know.
Yeah, why don't you just take Godtank's advice? You should have stolen it.
I left that life behind when I was 6 years old.
Oh man.
But man, yeah, it was years later, and I finally found like an old beat up copy. And now you can get the poly bag ones for like $5. So I had like 3 or 4 poly bag versions.
I would have thought it would have been a very high print run thing.
Yeah. Well, that was the problem. They made like so many copies of it that now it's still not really worth anything.
I think I've got it now. You know that live stream I did that went for 5 hours while I was drunk? I think or
Yeah.
the one where I unboxed that box of comics that my friend gave me. I think there was a Death of Superman in there.
Oh yeah.
So actually, like the one with the flag, like with his cape that looks like a flag. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. I think that was in there. I think I might have it now. I should read it.
I know that they came out with like 3 versions of it. I think they had the black poly bag, they had the regular version, and they had like a platinum version. And I think the platinum version is pretty decent. It's like $50-$75 or something.
Jesus,
Still, yeah.
I've got some Superman thing where I think it's polybagged. It's got like a gray sort of cover, which kind of looks like a cement sort of looking thing.
Yeah.
And then on the back, it's got like the armband, like
Oh
his,
yeah.
like his like a funeral armband and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
That was the Tombstone cover.
So is that the Death of Superman as well?
Yeah, that was the one that was in the black poly bag that came with the armband and the newspaper clipping and all that stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I bought that somewhere once. But yeah, Simpsons comics as well. I used to buy those. Which I actually rebought the first Simpsons issue recently. Actually, again, I think I got it here. The first Simpsons issue.
Yeah.
I recently
That's fine. I love the show, but I never got into the Simpsons comics. But I would watch the show all the time, especially
Nice
on
one.
Halloween when they did the Treehouse of Horror episodes. Oh, that's a
Yeah, that was
Fantastic
great.
Four homage. That's nice.
It is. Oh, look, check this out. So that's a Fantastic Four homage. Check out this other one. I had these ready for comic boys just in case.
Ren and Stimpy. I've never seen that one before, man.
I had this since I was a kid. This is
Yeah.
one of my. I used to get Ren and Stimpy comics as well. So I've still got that one.
That's awesome.
I don't remember anything about Ren and Stimpy. Like I literally don't. I remember I used to love it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it anymore.
Honestly, I don't either, man. I barely remember that show.
I remember one of them logs would come out of their butt, and now I realize after all these years, logs were poos.
Yeah. It's amazing the realizations that hit when you're older.
Oh man. Yeah. The good old days, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that went quick.
Yeah, it did, man. It went quicker than I thought.
So yeah, maybe we'll wrap it up. But yeah, maybe next week if you want, we'll do a wrestling special.
That sounds good.
And we'll just be wrestling talk after wrestling talk. I can't wait for the thumbnail you're gonna bring for that one.
Oh man,
Russ's thumbnail game is up there.
I'll put our heads on Hulk Hogan and Macho Man's bodies. Will be the Mega Powers.
Sweet. All right. Well, do you want to wrap this one up, man?
Yeah. Let's keep it to the hour. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking all night.
I know. I was getting scared that video game talk went for a while, so we might have to do a video game special one day too.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Because there's a lot of like PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games I can talk about.
Yeah, we'll go through the generations.
Sounds good. You got anything coming up on your channel, man?
I do. I filmed the first episode of the new Rebirth for a while. So back because obviously we're out of lockdown, so Big City Comics is open to the public. So I filmed a video. The first video, we just chatted about what it was like during lockdown. So it's nothing too exciting. I obviously have my weekly haul videos that I do. I'm going to be on Whack Comics tonight. So it'll be this morning for you guys, I think.
All right.
I filmed a statue unboxing, but I just don't know when I'm going to release it. I've got a whole bunch of other stuff I need to film too. So yes, I've got plenty of stuff coming up on my channel. Not Grey Man. So
Not
check
Grey
it
Man.
out.
Cool. Nighty night from 9,000, Grey Man.
Yeah. See you, Whack.
Later, Whack. Skip trace. What is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, Saturday I'll probably do another going through my comic book collection. I'm on the final episode, so it'll be episode 15. It'll be the CGC short box. So that should be
CGC?
that should be a
That's
good
really-
episode. That's got my
That-
top loaded books in there too. So that should be a good episode. Some nice key issues to show off to end that series.
Yeah, that'll be a. I'm predicting it will be the most viewed.
Let's hope so.
all the slab collectors will come out.
Yeah.
Of the
I might have to put that in the title though, CGC short box or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe
definitely.
put Wonder Woman on the thumbnail again.
It didn't work as well last time, though.
I know.
You need Gal Gadot holding the slab.
Yes, I need to do that. I need to get a professional Photoshopper though to make it look real.
Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. It was definitely a fun one. And if you're wrestling fans, next week we'll do some wrestling talk.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my weak Macho Man impression.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
All
All right, guys.
Hulk Hogan?
What you gonna do, brother? That's the bad as good as I get. Oh, now I'm embarrassed in the stream.
No, I'll just do this.
No.
It's all good, man. That was a good impression.
Thanks everyone for hanging out.
Awesome show. And once again, all the links are in the description. Simon's channel is the first link. Then we got my Patreon. Then we got my Redbubble store. And then we even got my P.O. box. So buy my merch, donate to my Patreon, and send me stuff. I'm just playing, y'all. I'll have to be one of those sexy Twitch streamers to do all that and lick all over the microphone and stuff.
Yes.
Get that ASMR action going on.
No, I think,
I think YouTube just shut me down. All right, it's over. Peace.
Oh man.